And we're back at it again with another video, another video in the what do you call it? This I don't fucking know. I'm so fucking tired from this gym. I didn't want to go today. But anyway, we're back with another video of the gaming pulpit. This video is not to come clapping at anybody because everyone knows that I am a fan of Sony. Not a fanboy, but a fan, and that's totally different. But I will say this though. I'll make this video very quick. I'm going to address some concerns that he had about PlayStation Now actually allowing you to download PS4 games directly, and there's a lot of concern with that one. He mentions a couple points about how did he say? Oh yeah. So if it's $15 a month or whatever the case is, if it's even $30 a month, and you get a whole bunch of games, thousands of games or hundreds of games for $15, $20, $30 a month, is going to dip into the quality of a game. He mentions if Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War was one of those particular games that deserves to be in that monthly situation. So I'm going to address that. If they're going to go the route of Netflix does not hold anything that's not important for very long. As a matter of fact, they don't hold anything for very long. They have exclusive rights for a specific time, and then it drops off. I know one time a while ago I was looking for the Terminator 2, and they didn't even have that anymore. They have Terminator 1, but I guess they lost the rights for Terminator 2, which to me that does not appeal to me when it comes to Netflix. I understand they can't hold thousands and thousands of content, but yeah, they shuffle it. So I wouldn't really necessarily, be concerned about that. The second thing that he mentions as well is that, and that was basically, I'll sum it up a little bit better. He basically states that he really believes that it's going to eat into quality. We're going to get a whole bunch of mediocre games, and we may get one good one. And we're going to be so used to this particular model that we're just going to accept it. So basically, just things degrade, kind of like music nowadays. How music used to be way better than it was before, and then now we just kind of accept this shit that we have on the radio now. And I don't think that there's a fear to it. I think the direction that Sony's probably going to go is not necessarily Netflix, but to provide people that subscribe to the service. What the fuck is this? Oh yeah, people that subscribe to the service, like old content, that happen to be exclusives. And then it gives them a particular time or a chance to play those particular games that they haven't touched. Such as if they do release it and you're able to download it, you'll be able to have access to what do you call it, The Last of Us. You won't have access to The Last of Us 2, but it'll be access to The Last of Us, and then that's it. And people that didn't want to try it, they can try it at that particular point in time. So it's going to be like what movie rentals used to be at Blockbuster, I believe. And another particular issue that he did mention is that everybody's going towards this subscription base. It's going to be like a Ubisoft one. It's going to be a Square Enix one. It's going to be a Microsoft one. And he mentioned before, he was like, well, if these companies decide not to jump on board with either Microsoft or Sony, and they make their own particular, games with service or whatever, then how is that going to bode well for PlayStation, now? And I think he just completely forgot that, Sony has exclusives as well that they can't get anywhere else. I work particularly in this industry of movies, music, and I'm sorry, movies and shows. And what I'm noticing now is that Disney, for instance, they don't want to be shared with anyone else. So what they're doing is they're pulling a plug on stuff like Sling TV or Roku. So if you really want Disney stuff, you have to go to them directly. Same thing with HBO. Either they're going to work with each other, or they're going to really divide their own specific content, and you're going to have multiple subscriptions. But Sony definitely can stand on their own. They don't need Ubisoft. They don't need Activision. They have their own portfolio, just like everybody else. Nintendo's been doing this shit for years. They had fucking, you're not going to get Mario played in the best capability or capable, platform other than their console or Zelda or anything of that nature. You're not going to get that. You're going to, you can't, you have to buy their console. So if Sony goes the direction of PlayStation Now and you got to buy their service, they don't really need the other people because their service, their games and portfolio stands on their own. As I stated before, I particularly believe that Sony is going to go the way of just like PlayStation Plus. But instead of having 2 games a month and you get to keep that shit, it's probably going to evolve. Instead of having those 2 games, you just basically use PlayStation Now. Now, I believe PlayStation Now is actually a really good service for people trying out services or trying out games, and you don't need to download it. Maybe you don't have enough room on your hard drive to be deleting a game that you may like, or let's say you don't want to let go of certain games. I don't. So my hard drive is pretty much maxed out. I have to constantly delete the videos that I upload, and that's what I do. But it'd be good to kind of test out without downloading the whole shit, using the PlayStation Now's streaming capabilities and call it a day. If I stream it, don't really like it, I can call it quits and keep it moving without waiting, essentially. So I think it's going to evolve into something of that particular nature. That's what it looks like it's going to do, versus to be a service like Netflix. I think it's just going to complement PlayStation Plus. And I don't think they're very serious with it either. If you look at what they're doing with PlayStation Now, they were never really that serious. I think they just wanted a stake in that particular technology, and then only then, if it gets popular, they already have their hands in that particular cookie jar. I don't see a reason to be afraid or to be worried about content or whatever the case is. And lastly, it kind of touches upon why I don't want Microsoft to be a leader in the industry anyway. Because look what they ushered in. They ushered in paying for online. I don't think Sony would have went that route unless they were bragging about it so much that it made everybody want to do this whole online, including Nintendo, which they have no legs to stand on. They don't have the infrastructure there, and they don't work with third-party people. So what are you offering? What, a bunch of 20, 30-year-old games that you can download elsewhere? So I don't know. I mean, online play is nice, but then we lost single player when Microsoft was the leader. And to me, that's a no-go. That's a no-go, period. I don't want them to do that shit at all. But this is why I kind of advocate. Now, I don't like the fact that I will touch upon this again. This whole Fortnite bullshit where your account is locked out or whatever, I believe Epic Games should have warned you. But since they didn't warn you, I believe that Sony should let it go. Let that particular portion go and just don't incorporate cross-game or cross-platform gaming. I think it's a stupid idea. If you really look at it, I mean, think about it. If you look at how the cross-game, like, why the fuck would I play with the people that's on a PC that have keyboard and mouse with a shooter game? Why would I do that? There's no reason for me to do that. I'll get my ass ripped open. And then the people that play on the Switch, I don't know why they're fucking hooting and hollering. Because if you look at it, your game runs at 30 frames per second. Epic Games just released an update for that game to run pretty much all the time, 60 frames per second anyway. So it's like, why would you want to play? And it's not even a real controller either. It's like this tablet type thing. So it's not really that comfortable. I get it. You just want to have your game on every single platform form and have that particular work. I get it. But at the end of the day, Switch players are going to have a shitty time playing with people on Xbox or PS4. And then PS4 and Xbox players are going to have a hard time with people, or impossible time with people on the computer. Mixing all of them together with different requirements, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't even know why you want to combine with them. So that's why when people say that, oh, you're a Sony fanboy and shit like that, it's not that I'm a fanboy. I don't see how it's going to work. If you complained about the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox One X being more powerful and be able to run their games at 60 frames per second versus the original console doing 30, why the fuck do you want to combine them two? You're gonna get your ass handed to you. So there's no reason why you should get it or want it, to be honest with you, because you complained about that shit before. This whole thing looks like a whole Me Too moment. Oh, I'm offended. Oh, do you even have a Switch? Do you ever have a PS4? You may have a PS4, but do you ever have a Switch? I feel like people just want to be popular and they want to fight for a stupid cause. It's like a whole bunch of people that are not black jumping into this fucking thing about, Black Lives Matter. You're not black to be making that assumption. I get that you may have cared to have a black friend or whatever the case is. Just this whole Me Too thing is irritating as shit. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have a message or a comment, leave that shit there. Let me know if I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing, or how I'm conducting these videos. And until next time.